We're one of the largest Asian leadership development organizations in the country. We have chapters in just about every major city in Canada, and we've actually expanded out to Xiamen, China. The three pillars about NAAAP, the National Association of Asian American Professionals, is we really focus on three things: leadership development, networking, and community service. Leadership development, need the skills to get up and move into those higher levels of your organization, or even if you want to transfer careers and go into a different organization, you need those soft skills, you need those leadership skills to be able to move into those positions of top management. For networking, we all know it's not what you know, it's who you know. So we're very big on making sure we help build those relationships so that you get to know the people in those advanced organizations, and able to move into those advanced positions. And then community service, we're really big on making sure we give back to our community. It's the holiday season, so we'll have food drives or toy drives or fundraising, a lot of different things to try and give back to our community, as well as doing different things throughout the year. Some of our events that we do, we have a very active Pride program. Yeah, as Keith is fist pumping because he's actually the leader of that organization. Pride's only been around for a couple of years, but it's already making a lot of headway in the LGBTQ plus community. Women in NAAAP. It's one thing to be Asian and trying to move up the corporate ladder. It's even more difficult as an Asian woman. So a lot of our chapters have programming very specific to that. Self-care and wellness is a national program that looks at the whole person, not just your physical fitness, but also your mental wellness and your financial wellness. And San Jose is one of the few chapters where we actually have our own wellness program on top of the national program. And then lots of other fun things that we do. It's not all business. We do a lot of social, well, let me rephrase that. Normally in a normal world, we'd be doing social activities. Things like networking dinners with small groups, happy hours, a lot of those types of things, where we just get together and have fun together. NAAAP is very much a family, and once you're a member of one NAAAP chapter, you're a member of all the NAAAP chapters. So it's definitely an organization that really looks at building and supporting each other, as well as giving back to our community at large. So with that, let me turn it over to Lance.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are in the country. Thank you, Marinka, for introducing our amazing organization. So my name is Lance. I am the president for NAAAP-Los Angeles. Just wanted to say a few things about how NAAAP works down here in Southern California. So we have three chapters. We have Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. We've been around as an organization since 2008. So we do, as Marinka mentioned, we do a number of leadership development, community service, and networking events. The beauty about here in Southern California is with LA and Orange County being right next to each other, many of our members are able to attend events from both areas. So Orange County and LA in particular, a very tight-knit group. We do lots of collaborations together whenever possible. So I know many of you here who joined in today's event probably is attending a NAAAP event for the first time. And I know many of you are based here in Los Angeles as well. So we hope to see you guys at many of our future events, especially once we're able to all get together in person again. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenter for our workshop today. So Julie Ha Truong, she's the founder of Leadership Savvy and brings 20 years of experience in building innovative business and leadership solutions. She's led award-winning initiatives and supported the development of thousands of leaders across a variety of industry sectors. She has a master's in public policy and an emphasis in leadership and management, and is also a trained professional coach. So welcome back, Julie, and take it away.
Thank you, everyone. I love that introduction. Got to learn so much more about NAAAP and be reminded of how much I miss the in-person events. I think this is great because we're online. I know, unfortunately, it's due to COVID, but there's been so many more new partnerships that have bubbled up, and meeting folks from across the country. So I think that's one of the benefits of unintended benefits of having to stay at home during the pandemic. I hope everyone is doing well. This is a great group. I feel energized every time I come to a NAAAP event. And so I hope that for those of you who this is the first time, or you haven't been to too many NAAAP events, that this is the beginning. I like that Marinka said it's a family, that once you're part of one NAAAP, you get access to the whole family. So let's stay connected. And today's training is all about LinkedIn. So that's going to be a perfect platform for us to learn about each other and stay connected. So I have the screen up here just as a quick example of, even though I've been working for 20 years in corporate and nonprofit, government, education settings, I've also worked in many different topic areas, from healthcare to career development to helping teachers, to community policing. There's a huge range. I was a recruiter for some years. That all of us, we are dynamic people. Even if we've sat in the same role or the same company for many years, we end up doing a lot of different things. And I think it's easier for us to talk about other people, but it's hard to talk about ourselves. And so I hope that through the LinkedIn training, we can feel more confident about sharing with the world who we are, what we care about, what we want to be about, what we want folks to know about us. And so to start synthesizing everything that you've been, that you've done, that you want to be, into just a few bullet points that you can start from there and flesh out to put on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. So I share that today is about LinkedIn, but it's actually more about you, right? We can always build out a LinkedIn page, check that box. But no, I really want you to build out a LinkedIn page that really does a good job of synthesizing who you are and gives you the flexibility to share with different people different facets of you. So here I just put a few bullet points: strategy consultant, trainer and recruiter, and coach. And that gives me the flexibility to tell my story to different people, because not everyone cares about the same thing. So that's a lot of what I do as I help people reframe how they talk about their career experience and how to prepare themselves for the next chapter of their career. So we're going to talk about that. How can we use LinkedIn to help us with that goal? So know and share your personal brand. Have others be able to come to you for things that you feel interested in sharing with them about, so that you become a go-to expert and resource. And how do you use LinkedIn to further deepen and expand your network? So this is a very hands-on, action-oriented training. So we're going to walk through step by step by step. And literally after the training, you'll be on your LinkedIn page immediately wanting to make updates. So this is my backyard office. It's when I'm indoors and I'm feeling like the walls are closing in, I'll go and I'll reset up my backyard and sit here and work outside. And it's actually very small, but it looks, hopefully you can tell, it's a cozy place for me. It's kind of my safe space. But it was wonderful for like the first 2 days, and then a week, and then 2 months. And then I'm like, is this pandemic like gonna go away? Because I'm a people person. And I realized that even in my work, I was able to be efficient in my little kind of sanctuary here. But over time, I kind of felt like the walls were closing in. I wasn't sure if my ideas would take traction, take hold. It was harder to build relationships with my colleagues and people in the community. And so I realized that I really needed to not look inwardly, but to really reach out. And so what I did is I actually got back on LinkedIn and I refreshed my page, updated everything, basically did what I've been telling my clients to do, right? Oftentimes it's harder to do it for yourself, even though you know these are the things you should do. So LinkedIn really was, for me, in the middle of the pandemic, a space where I was able to reconnect with Joannie and say, hey, let's talk. What do you want to do with your life? Oh, this is what I'm trying to do over here with my business. And together we came up with Braindom. Like, how can we be a resource? It's really Joannie's vision. And I was like, you got to do this. Companies need help, but they don't know where to go. So through the partnerships, I was able to really feel like I could connect with people. I could share with others that care about the same things about me, with me, and be found. So that's really important, is LinkedIn is a place where recruiters can find you, where other people in the field can find you. But I want to make sure that the right people find you. I had an experience where at the beginning of the pandemic, I started to doing a lot of reach outs. I did webinars, I published articles, and I was getting dozens of inquiries. And so my calendar started filling up, and I was excited because of all these new people I was meeting, but I was also super exhausted. And I know that as people, we're all on this webinar today because we are people. And we want to learn, we want to help, we want to connect. So it's hard to say no sometimes. But I had to learn that, no, I need to start with, who am I? What am I looking for? What do I want to put out into the world? So that the people who find me are the right people, right? The people who are closer to what I'm looking to do in my career and in my life. And so curating your LinkedIn profile, being clearer about what you want to put out into the world is really important so that the right people find you. I might have to plug in my earphones because my first grader is singing songs. So why did we choose to talk about LinkedIn? It is still the big whale. After all these years and all the social media platforms, it's still the big whale. They are over 500 million members at this point. 61 million of those are senior level influencers. They are the decision makers. They are the people who really set the stage for what people are interested in thinking about in the professional world. And 40 million of them are senior level decision makers. So this is a place where folks, they kind of land there, they stick their flag in the sand and they say, this is me, I'm here as a professional in this space, feel free to reach out. And so it's still the place I go to when I learn of somebody who is very interesting, but I don't have a personal connection. I can go to their LinkedIn profile and message them and just let them know, oh, I saw you at this event, would you like to connect, right? Or I can pull up their name and see that, oh, you know, Lance actually has met them before, or maybe they work together, there's a connection there. So I can reach up to Lance and say, hey, could you make an introduction for me? So this is where people are, it's worth investing your time in. I will start here by also saying, I love LinkedIn because it's not the type of platform where you have to post every single day. So if you take any marketing trainings, they're always like consistency, visibility, you know, like post every day, post multiple times a day, write a blog every week. And you're just, the to-do list becomes overwhelming. And so you end up doing almost none of it. So with LinkedIn, I found you can build it and let it sit for a little bit, engage on conversations that are interesting to you, posts that you see, join a group, chat, get to know them a little bit, but there isn't this pressure to be there every single day. And so I'll show you as we go through the slides, there are some posts where it's nice to be a little more visible a few times a week. And then like if you're writing an article, you don't need to do that every week or just maybe do it once a month, but really start from a place that works for you. Like what's a natural next step, and don't feel the pressure to have to publish every single day. All right. So as I've summarized, right after this slide, we're actually going to start delving into the specific things you need to do to improve your LinkedIn page. But before we do that, usually with my clients, we spend actually 1 to 2 sessions just talking about what are your true interests? What are your skills? What have you experienced over the course of your career, the course of your life, that has informed you on what type of work you like to do? There's really 2 kind of decisions you have to make here. One is there a specific cause or industry I am really passionate about? And I would like to hang my hat, my identity, put on my hello, my name is sign. I am in the education industry. I'm in the biotech industry. Is there that particular cause, mission, industry for you? And if there's not, that's okay. Maybe what you want to hang your hat on is I'm a generalist, right? I'm not here to serve a specific industry. I'm more of a process-oriented person. I'm more of a strategist and leadership developer. I care about either the people or the systems, right? So I think, and it doesn't have to be just one thing, but since LinkedIn is a very public-facing platform, it's important for you to answer that question for yourself first, because
what we are trying to do here on LinkedIn and on your resume is synthesize who you are, make it easier for people to understand. Because again, what you put out there is what you will receive. So that's the first decision. On the skills side, a lot of times over the course of your career, which is a great thing, you end up being the Jack or Jill of all trades. So what I'm inviting you to do here is to whittle down your skills into just 3 to 5 buckets or categories. And be able to say, okay, specifically, I love working with people and developing and mentoring, right? Developing teams and mentoring. I really like social media and technology. I'm always the person that's the face of our organization. And then third, I'm a geek with finances, right? I'm always building and managing the budgets. So just synthesize your skills into those 3 buckets. And it just helps people really see, oh, this is the type of professional Julie is. This is what I can go to her for. And so once you've made that decision, suddenly you have more confidence when you talk about yourself. You'll have stories kind of ready to share related to those key topics. And then you'll start to frame your resume, your LinkedIn profile, all of your social media posts and your articles that you publish or videos that you produce about your work will be aligned on those. And that over time becomes your personal brand. So then you don't feel like your personal brand is all over the place. There's a little more structure. And before I leave that, don't feel like once you've made the decision, you're stuck with it, right? People's memories are really short these days, and they're really forgiving on social media. So if for a while I talk about biotech, like people will know me for that. But if for the next 3 months I start talking about the environment and the outdoors, then folks will suddenly be like, oh, Julie's really interested in the environment and the outdoors. Of course, I don't want to change my topic area every 3 months. But if you come to that point in your career where for 10 years you've been a lawyer, and for the next 10 years, you really want to be more about community, make that shift, right? So it's okay to make the shift. It's just up to you to be able to tell that story, tell that narrative in your LinkedIn profile, and be clear, right? As to, are you both, or have you made a pivot? All right, and so finally, those decisions will open up different avenues for you, different options to reach out to different groups or individuals or engage on LinkedIn, either through posts or through LinkedIn groups. So the different options, it also lends to different job opportunities, or maybe areas you can volunteer in or start to move your career in that direction. It clarifies your options. Okay, so really the training today will cover these things. First, we want to make sure that you have a very professional headshot. The days of cropping your photo out of a beautiful family photo is not okay anymore, where someone's arm and shoulders in your picture. Like, we're just kind of beyond that. Like, please, your cell phone most likely can take a really excellent photo. So just find a day where the sunlight is like semi-shadowed, right, in the clouds, and take your own picture, or have someone in your household take a picture for you. It'll do you wonders. All right, impactful headline. I'll show you a few examples, and then you can decide what type of headline works for you. But we want a short, succinct, and clear headline. Similarly, we're going to show you different types of summaries that really quickly tell people what you're about. And there's a couple of different ways you can write your summary. And finally, I'll share with you how to position your professional accomplishments. So let's see some examples. So here are two. Right here, I wanted to hone in on, this is their kind of subtitle. So it's in LinkedIn, it's called your headline. So we have two friends here. Kevin, he's our super connector. He's actually in the e-commerce industry, but right now he's really well known in the Asian networking community. Started a food blog, video, podcast. So he's everywhere. But people are just starting to get to know Kevin. So what he's done is he's listed these variety of areas on his headline. You can do that too. It's kind of what I do. I say I'm a trainer, facilitator, and coach. But if you look at Emily's, Emily has a completely different headline. Hers is the impact statement. Instead of who she is, it's what she does for you. right? So yes, she's a recruiter turned coach, but she helps job seekers get to the top 1%, right? So she's going to help you and get your application noticed in front of recruiters. So those are two ways to think about framing your headline. Is it short and sweet, title-based, or is it impact-based? Both of these work well. It just depends on what you're trying to communicate. So as we look at summaries, so after your headline, there's a section that's an about section. This is the piece of real estate that is the least utilized. It is the most underutilized. So this is an area that I would encourage you to go back and spend some time writing. It should be a short bio. However, it is different than a short bio that you would have on your resume. That's very professional. And on LinkedIn, it should have a little bit more personality. I'm going to show you a few examples. This one is more on the professional side. Ha Truong, I don't know if I've met him personally, but I like it because it hits a lot of the key words. I can really see this guy is an expert in the banking industry. And I know that the recruiters who are looking for his skill set will be able to put in LinkedIn system these key words. And the robots will be able to find Lance and actually include Lance on a list that they give to recruiters. It works similarly if you are just somebody who's looking for somebody who understands the audit and banking industry. In LinkedIn, you can go in and actually type in the words regulatory compliance, finance, and Lance's profile will pop up for you because that's how LinkedIn works, is you can search LinkedIn. So this is just an example of a really great summary that hits a lot of keywords to be easily searchable. I like his second paragraph because it talks about his impact, that he has 4 years of Big Four client service, right? So immediately you're like, okay, he's very informed about the larger finance companies. And what he's done at the bottom here is also very smart, just created a few more categories to be able to list some of his other accomplishments. The professional certifications actually lives at the very bottom of your LinkedIn page. So if it's something you worked really hard to get that in your industry makes a big difference, feel free to plop it up here on the top so people can find it more easily. This is a very different type of summary by Jean. If you just take a second, I'm not going to read it out loud, but this one is more about, gives me a feel for who Jean is. When I said bring a little bit of personality into it, I think this is a good example. It's professional yet personal. I get a sense for why she's in this learning and development space. She wants to help adults be able to really do better in whatever work environment that they're in. And then she does the same thing that Lance did at the bottom, is added a few areas where she can add more specificity on her skill set. Finally, this is a bit of a longer one. It's a little longer than I would like because I'm not sure people will read through. However, Michael is somebody who's become somewhat of an influencer globally, but also especially in Australia. And he's got this energy that really comes through in the way he's written his summary. He is a Generation Z mover of music, technology, and culture, right? And so as you read about it, he talks about the different spaces that he's worked in, right? He drove Uber, right, just to survive, was in a tech startup, and then innovates the music technology and blockchain fintech space. So I'm like, this guy has just a brain, you can tell, that is really connecting the dots in a lot of areas. He's creative, he's very interesting. So it does make me want to read more. Then he has a section where he really lists the formal accolades. And so here it really shows that he's not just someone exploring, he has some teeth, right? He's actually been awarded for the work that he's done. From a recruiter standpoint, because I've been a recruiter for a few years, I would like to see the formal accolades maybe up a little bit higher, or maybe just a statement at the very top that says award winning or recognized for his innovative initiatives. And then at the bottom here, he can keep this list because it's a pretty robust list. And then at the very end, he also shared he's on a board of a nonprofit. As you step into more leadership roles, folks are looking for that. Their company leaders are looking for someone who is effective on the job, but somebody who can also represent your company in the public space. So showing that you sat on a board of directors of a nonprofit organization shows that you are community minded and that you have experience in serving the community. All right, so I see a couple of maybe questions. I'll look at the questions later, and at the very end, we might have some time to chat a little bit. We did build in some time at the end for just open dialogue, so we can get to those as well. So I'm going to go to the next section. This is where you would list your employment. So this is the professional experience. I'm going to show you, I believe, 3 different examples. This first one is somebody who really took some time to write a synthesized paragraph on her experience and her role in the job. It's really nice because it's short and sweet, and you get a sense right away of the responsibilities that she's had. It's also, again, she's hitting on some key words that the robots will be able to find. For some of us, writing about our lives and our jobs in a short paragraph can be really tough. So I'm going to show you another example. So Lillian, I don't know if she's on the call. There you are. Oh, you've been updating your LinkedIn profile quite a bit lately, and it's been fun to see your posts. But we've never chatted about your professional experience. But I like how you positioned it. You started with an opening paragraph, talked about the sentence, really, talked about the impact, 1,500 employees throughout multiple states. And then I love this. It's a bulleted list of her roles and accomplishments. So really easy to read. Again, you can see, hit some key terms here that we would expect of an HR professional. And at the bottom there, she added some of her technical experience on top of that. So feel free to work within the confines of what LinkedIn allows us. You can add kind of your own subcategories because you know best what your industry or what that job requires. And again, through the first frame, the most important frame that I started with, what do you want to be known for? So you can start by listing these are the things that I've done, the accomplishments I've made, but certainly prioritize the things that you want others to know you for, because then those are the types of things people will come to ask you about. Finally, this is one of my older jobs, so the list is short and sweet. What I wanted to show you is under each job, you can actually provide a link or upload, I think, a PDF of an example of a project that you've done related to that job. So you can add a project to every job. And for some people, that breaks up your professional experience and it shows real experience. So here, somebody could click on this link of Brooklyn Center Schools and see that we actually help to improve academic outcomes and the health of students and the community in that area. So that is something that you might want to add if you have real life examples that you'd like to share with people about the work that you've done. The other place to put this is you can build out an article in LinkedIn. That's a little bit more advanced. Maybe that's our LinkedIn Part 2 training. But you can also list your accomplishments and start to house them under your LinkedIn articles. LinkedIn articles are not seen by as many people, so I would recommend you start here, put it in your professional experience. All right, so I know I've thrown a lot at you. Joanne, we'll be sending out the slides. Is that true? Are we doing that again?
The PowerPoint slide?
Yeah, or the recording?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
great.
The recording.
You can totally go back and see those examples again. Don't feel like you have to take lots and lots of notes. So now we're going to get to the second half, which is how do you connect with people now that you are on LinkedIn and want to be seen? One of the easiest ways is just to engage. And so we all know, I think we can read the post, we can share the post, we can comment on posts, but I wanted to emphasize for you how important this is. Remember earlier I said there's 500 million people. That's a lot. I cannot begin to wrap my head around that number, but there's 500 million people on LinkedIn. However, only, okay, so that leads to 9 billion weekly impressions. So those are the number of people that are checking into their LinkedIn homepage on a regular basis, right? So those are the number of eyeballs that LinkedIn is receiving. And of that, of the 500 million people, only 3 million are actually sharing. So of the people who are just perusing, like the 9 billion impressions that are just perusing, only 3 million people are actually sharing and making an impact on those 9 billion impressions, which means that if you post, if you publish, right, if you are engaged in a group, there is a very high likelihood that your posts will be seen. So that for me is the ROI. That right now I can put something on Instagram, I can put something on Pinterest, on Facebook, but I just do not get the same type of traction within the professional community as I do on LinkedIn. So I want to share that with you, that it is worth the effort. So we're going to start with the basics, and then for some of you, you'll already be doing this, and for others, it'll be new to you. But certainly, as you scroll through your homepage, look and see which posts of your friends and colleagues are interesting. Start commenting on them. Don't overthink it, just a quick statement, and then share it. If it is interesting to you, why not click the share button and write that statement at the top of that share and let other folks know why you care about it. So you can do that, or you can create a unique post. So create a new post, right? Something that you care about. Maybe you were taking a walk this morning and you had an epiphany, right? An aha moment. Go ahead and take a picture of you on your walk. Maybe it's just the hills down the street. And then write a couple sentences about that thought you had today, and then open it up to your friends. Have you ever had, aha moments, or do you take walks in the morning to help you get ready for the workday, right? So then you're starting to engage with folks. Make sure you're using the @ symbol to tie to relevant people, and the hashtags to tie to certain subjects. So if you're talking about Monday motivation, right? Taking a walk every Monday morning, go ahead and hashtag Monday motivation, so that folks who are interested in motivational things will find you. So timely and personal. Again, what I just shared in that example is super timely and super personal. A lot of times folks overthink, oh, I have to like draft this and then sit on it for a few days and think about, is this really what I want the world to know? In the social media space, people kind of like to know what's behind the scenes. It doesn't have to be a fully authored, vetted white paper that you're preparing for a publication in a journal, right? This is just a snapshot, a moment in time, a glimpse into who you are on social media. So yeah, just post, and they want to learn more about who you are. And then finally, if you are interested in writing articles and publishing it on LinkedIn, I would encourage you to. If you like writing, it's a wonderful place to write an article that's 300 to 1,000 words. Doesn't have to be too long. But the #1 articles that are read and shared are list articles. So articles that provide people with a list of tips, right? 5 ways for engaging with donors online, or 3 ways to think about how to move your inventory to an online audience. Those are the most popular articles right now. And at first, when you write them, you're not going to get a lot of traction. Not as many people will see it because it doesn't show up on your homepage as often, on their homepages as often. However, as a recruiter, I can tell you, also as just a consultant, the right people will find your article. So folks who are coming to you because they're interested in you. Oh, I didn't know Lance was part of the NAAAP Association, and I'm curious about what he has to say about leadership in the Asian American community. So they'd go to Lance's page, they'd want to get connected with NAAAP, but if Lance had an article on leadership from an API perspective, I would click on that, right? So your warm leads are the people who are going to read your articles. Your articles will validate the expertise that they think you already have. So maybe it's not many eyeballs, but it's important people that will read your article. So just so you can see how important articles are, and again, you don't have to write them all the time, but if you are not friends with somebody or connected on LinkedIn, this is what they will see. This is what your profile will look like to them. I had to chop off the top that has my picture and my headline, so you could see the rest of it, but right under that is my about section. And then the second thing is the articles I wrote. So articles actually carry a lot of weight on your profile page for a stranger. And then under that are the activities that you are engaging in, is what they would see. So what did Julie comment on, or what did she share? Okay, so just a few examples of some posts. So this one is an example of where this is interesting to me, and I think to the industry of fundraising and philanthropy. So I shared it. And I don't know the CEO personally, so I didn't include him. I guess I could have. He might have been interested to know that I'm sharing things about him. But I used a lot of hashtags to let people know what this is about. And I did use the @ symbol for Ford Foundation. So the Ford Foundation now sees that I am talking about them. And so immediately I got 544 views for this, just sharing. I barely made a comment, right? Bold steps to leverage the power of philanthropy. This is one where it's a share, but the way I saw it on someone else's page, the images were really small. They were like piled four in a row, and I couldn't read it. It was in a column, it was so small. But when I saw it, it really hit me. I thought, this is such a friendly way to talk about injustices in our community with our children, right? And sometimes adults, we have to take that approach too. So I felt really compelled to post about this, but I couldn't find other posts that were formatted in a way that was easy to read. So I uploaded a new picture, right? So it's basically a new post, but I'm sharing about this image that isn't mine. And I made it sure to find out who the original illustrator was, and it's by Tony Ruth. I used some hashtags, no @ symbols this time, but because it was such a timely topic, I've gotten almost 2,000 views for this post. And people have actually messaged me after the fact, weeks later saying, Julie, I saw your post on that, the trees with the equity stuff. Where did you find that again? So it was really great to be, oh, okay, why are you interested in that? And so then I'm getting into the equity discussion with them. This is an original post example. When we're doing events, even attending webinars, we can create a new original post that lets the world know that we're interested in this topic, we're connecting with these people. So this is an organization right before the pandemic who was doing a big barbecue as a thank you to our first responders. And so they're national. So because I connected myself with Stan, my friend and CEO of Operation Barbecue Relief, both the organization, Operation Barbecue Relief, and Stan's network, right? When you just use the @ symbol, their networks and my networks can see this post. And so I, again, got a high number of posts from this, or sorry, high number of views from this post. And finally, I wanted to share that you can also share something that's a little more personal. They say once a quarter, maybe, do something that's a little bit more personal, or some people call it a welcome post. People who might not know you as well, or you haven't connected with in a long time, give them something that introduces yourself again, right? So a welcome post or a personal story. So this is one that I shared, this is quite a few months ago now, but at the time I had gone independent, and I wanted to share with some folks what it some thoughts I had and learnings. And people were quite supportive on this post. All right, so I don't want to just make that this is not a conceptual training. This is something that you will actually be able to take action on. So this slide is your reminder to take that next step, right? Connect with people on this training. Go ahead in the chat box, share a little bit like what field you're in, if there's a specific type of person you're looking to connect with, and your LinkedIn profile or your name so people can find you. Go ahead and start sharing, get to know each other here in the chat box and connect with each other on LinkedIn. If you need ideas for posting, post about this awesome training, right? Do a shout out. I'm going to do something like this after the training on the right-hand side. You know, thank you, NAAAP-LA, San Jose, Joannie, Braindom for making this happen, bringing us all together. Share a post from your homepage. So when you open LinkedIn, there's going to be a huge scrolling list of interesting stories from your friends. Choose one that's interesting, that you feel like is under one of the umbrella themes that you want to be known for, and start posting and sharing from that homepage. Or try creating an original post and different types of original posts if you are already quite active on LinkedIn. I didn't add it here because, again, the immediate impact isn't there. But if you are more advanced on LinkedIn, to start producing more articles. It's a great place to really practice getting your thought leadership out there. All right, so let's keep moving so that we'll have time at the end for some dialogue. All right, so final part is leveraging your network. So a lot of folks will call me and tell me, okay, I'm on LinkedIn and people are starting to engage with me. The other week I had a guy from New York call and he said, oh, I have 11,000 contacts and I've been cultivating this group for 5 years. So I'm like, okay, great. What has it led to? And he said, nothing really. I just invite them to be a friend and they accept. So it's like, okay, what do you want that to lead to? And so then he had to really think, and he's like, okay, I'm in the hospitality industry, but I want to get more into like nonprofit and community event planning. And so I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. How does working in the hospitality industry connect to the event planning industry, right? And then so that then gave him focus to curate his networks on LinkedIn and be more targeted. So for him, he was looking for quantity, right? Not quality. So he's very fortunate though. I mean, I would dream to have 11,000 contacts, but that he used to spend, I think he said like 2 to 3 hours a day just trying to connect with people. So we helped him shift to being more strategic about why he's connecting with folks. So here's some steps. After you think about what is it that I want to be known for and what are the types of industries or professionals or jobs I want to be connected with, you can then search your connections. So for me, I'm not an HR professional, but I work with so many nonprofits that and schools and government agencies that honestly, okay, sorry, I work with corporate companies too that have problems with this, is they have subpar staff development programs, right? Everybody is overworked and tired. And then the leadership is wondering, why aren't people motivated? So I'm like, okay, so let me work with your HR team so that we can develop a leadership training and management training program so that staff can get engaged again and they can develop their careers. But I know that I'm not an HR professional. So I'll go on LinkedIn and actually research who do I know that's an HR professional that can work with me to make sure that I build in an integrated training program with their HR program, that it doesn't just, you know, it's not an afterthought. So then if you don't have a lot of contacts yet, you can start to reach out with folks that you aren't immediately connected with. So when you do a search, you can, I'll show you a screen pretty soon here, that you can actually choose, is it someone you're immediately connected to, or is it somebody who's in the second or third connection, so a little further out. But that means somebody you know knows that person. Um, so you can search those connections, or you can actually import connections you already have. So there's probably a good chance that through your work and your personal life, you have emails from folks that are not yet friends on LinkedIn. So you can import those. It's a little bit hard to find, so I have a slide coming up here that shows you how to do it. And then ask for introductions. So as I mentioned, it might be a friend of a friend to get to that connection. And that warm introduction is so helpful, because LinkedIn is becoming, especially during this time where we're all online, people are becoming more and more bombarded by advertisers. And so those are people who are paying to find you. So a lot of times folks are like, just by saying, oh, your work looks interesting, let's connect, that's not enough, right? You have to give a genuine message that says why, what in particular about their profile, and really find something that they would be interested in connecting with you about. So it's really about cultivating that relationship first. I have a lot of folks who just go right straight to the point, and they're not really caring about what I care about. So know that as you start messaging on LinkedIn, they're really trying to police this. So they won't allow you to send too many messages to strangers. So they're policing it too. But if you're going to send out messages, it's again not about quantity, it's about quality. All right, so here's a bit of a tip on how to find this. So earlier I mentioned I'll put in the search bar human resources, and it'll pop up a list of people that I already know in the space, so I can reach out to them. So I encourage you to use that search bar to find people you already know. For folks who you might know but are not connected with you on LinkedIn, you'll want to upload your email contacts from whatever email server that you use. And so you would do that by clicking on My Network at the top, and it will show you on the left here your connections and your contacts. Connections are people who are already connected with you on LinkedIn. Contacts are just the emails that you have uploaded to LinkedIn. So when you click contacts or connections, you'll see this pop-up box on the bottom here. And you can search this list, or you can add more contacts on the right. So you click on add more contacts, and then it will ask you upload from Google or from Outlook, depending on what email server you use. And then you just select that. And then all of the people on your email list will pop up, and you can then go through it and decide who you would like to invite to connect with you on LinkedIn. So I think that's a step that a lot of people forget, and it's valuable to do maybe once every year or so, just to refresh and update your list. All right, so I was able to get through a lot of content and save some time for us to chat and maybe answer some questions. So yeah, let's connect. This is the beginning of us working together to support each other's development in our careers. There's my LinkedIn ID. And then if you have any questions that are specific to your career or how to position it, thinking about should you make a transition or a pivot, feel free to reach out to me. My website is leadershipsavvy.com, and I look forward to it.
All right. So before we close it out with a networking event, speed networking, we do want to just close it out with some upcoming events. San Jose is planning events for 2021. So after this slide, there'll be their contact information. You can check out their website. For NAAAP-LA, we do have an exclusive cohort event coming up. So this Saturday, we're doing your intentional online dating profile and using your 5 voices to understand yourself a little bit more and how you show up online. And then we also have a cohort celebration event in December as a way to just celebrate that we made it through 2020. Awesome. Julie, can you go on to the next one? So this one, we have all of our contacts, San Jose and LA. So this is how you can get in touch with us, stay in touch. And I'm going to put a link in the chat box because NAAAP is a national organization. So you can find chapters in your local area since we have people from East Bay and Chicago, if I remember correctly. So the link is in the chat if you want to learn more about the chapter in your local area. And right now, for maybe the next 10 minutes, we'll open it up for questions. I know there was a couple of questions in the chat box, so I don't know if that got answered, but this is the time. And then we will go into our speed networking where you would introduce yourself, either your industry or your location, and what is it that you want to be known for, either on LinkedIn or in the community. So now that we're talking about our LinkedIn profile, this is your chance to share what you want to be known for with the in-person virtual networking event. So right now, I'll just open it up for a question. If you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself, and then Julie will answer that. And then at 12:15, we'll just close out the recording and start our speed networking so everyone get a chance to meet each other, build new connections, and link up on LinkedIn.
Hi, ladies. This is Natalie from Chicago, the one Chicagoan. Thank you so much for your session today. It was really impactful. I was going to ask you, because I know you had mentioned there will be some other upcoming webinars or events. For people that are outside of the California area, how do we get to know about those events or connect to you?
Are you talking about the NAAAP event or just events in general?
Just a couple minutes ago, you had mentioned that you had some up and coming things for 2020 still.
Yes, for 2020 for the LA chapter. What I'll do is I'll put the link to our national website because we do have chapters throughout the US. So I know in Chicago, they have a pretty active chapter with events going on. So I'll post that into the link. And I don't know, Marenka or Lance, if you want to just add on to where they can find more.
Yeah, I have a couple things to say. So what you could do is, you can go on naap.org, which is our national website. And there is at the top, there's a drop-down box that will say, find your chapter. And you can click on any of the icons that represent each of the cities that we have chapters in. And since many of the chapters have gone virtual with their events, so you definitely have access to many of the free virtual events, regardless of which chapter is hosting. I also suggest if you have Facebook, you can go to the Facebook pages or groups of any particular chapter that you're interested in. So in your case, Natalie, it'd be Chicago, and you should be able to easily find the events that they're hosting there.
Yeah, following up on what Lance just said, all of the chapters will post their events on Facebook. They'll post them on their separate websites. Natalie, for Chicago specifically, Rose and I have an agreement that we actually share all of our events. So anything that gets posted on NAAAP San Jose's website is automatically posted on Chicago's website as well, like this particular one. San Jose is taking a break for December, but we actually just scheduled a fitness event to get the new year started off on January 9. So we'll have some information posted on that shortly. Just, what better way to kick off 2021 than actually getting up and moving.
Thanks all. I appreciate the information.
Any other questions, or are you guys just excited to start the speed networking?
Julie, actually, I did have a question. Are there any particular benefits that you highly recommend for somebody who is interested in subscribing to the premium version of LinkedIn or is interested in paying into LinkedIn for any particular, benefits?
Good question. I would consider the premium features as fun. They give you a little bit of insight into who the competition is, and they help you see based on jobs that you're interested in, how well you match with what they are looking for. I wouldn't use those as decision-making tools to decide whether you apply or not. But it is kind of fun to see that, oh, I have 7 out of the 10 things they're looking for. Let me take a closer look. It's not, there's a lot of kind of nuance in a job description. So you would still want to rely on your own read versus just using that scale that they have. The number one benefit that I have enjoyed from paying for the professional is to be able to reach out to more people. So I canceled my professional for a while, and after a few months, LinkedIn actually emailed or gave me a notification that said, you have emailed the maximum number of people under your free profile. So please pay. So I had to think about, do I want to pay yet, or do I want to just rest a little bit? I like some of the comments that I saw. I'm just reading through them. Richard wrote an article on one of the, I think the diversity equity slide. That's quite interesting. Are there any questions that you saw on the chat box that you'd like to bring up?
Yeah, Jim has one. He says, any tips on how to minimize people reaching out to me for solicitations?
Ugh. Yeah, there's a lot. It's like blown up recently. And they're getting a little bit more clever too, aren't they? Like one person said, oh, it's so nice to connect and get to know each other. I'm like, wait, this is a complete stranger that I haven't connected with, but she's making me think I've connected with her already. So there is no LinkedIn, actually, let me sit on the other side. If you are somebody who is looking to pay to find people, this is kind of the advanced LinkedIn stuff, it actually works really well. So those people are looking probably for entrepreneurs in the leadership development space. So Jim, your profile probably came up for them. And that's because if you pay for LinkedIn, they really do target and help you find really relevant people. There are some other paid services that I would not recommend. I hope, legally I don't get into trouble for saying this, but as a recruiter, ZipRecruiter, like when I pay for that to get candidates, they send me 200 to 300 candidates. That's not helpful. Like just give me and they're not relevant. But on LinkedIn, when I say I want to reach out to folks in the leadership development space who are entrepreneurs, I'll get 20 really qualified folks who actually respond to me, like a fraction of those respond to me. But so they're finding you because there's a potential fit there. If it's not a fit, you may have to look at your profile to see why those people would be coming up for you. And just don't respond to it, obviously, but
most of the time they're trying to say, I have a bunch of clients. I had one that said, I have a bunch of clients that I can't service, would love to connect with you so you could do them, which
that's so spammy.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what kind of business I do or how I do my business, then it's really a lot of spray and pray methodology. So I mean, it's easy to tell who you would want to connect with and who you wouldn't want to connect with, but it just tends to take time to have to filter them out specifically. But thank you. I was just curious if you knew.
I wish there was a filtering system, Jim.
Yeah, I think those that do pay more.
Their email manager is not very robust.
Yeah. It's business.
Julie, I had a question for you. And actually, I saw a couple of comments regarding this. Any recommendations on how to be engaging and interesting when you write your headlines or your posts? Any suggestions for language to use?
This is a tough one because it's kind of subjective. It really depends on the industry that you are and the type of professional that you are trying to attract. So remember I gave that one example of the young tech event planner. He had the 100% symbol. He had Lillian's too has flowers on it. It just, I think her personality comes through with that choice. But I work my primary client base is executives of companies. And so I choose a headline that is much more clean, very short and professional. And then I let my personality kind of come through in my description, my summary about me. Again, start with the 3 to 5 topics that you want to be known for. Second step would be come up with 2 examples each under that bucket of things that you are proud of or experiences you've learned from. So if you say, I'm really interested in e-commerce, right? Why? And share with me 2 examples of maybe something you've done and accomplished, or something that made you realize this is really important to be involved in. And so I think those stories will naturally make you more interesting.
Awesome. We can take one more question before we start this breakout room. I have it all ready. I'm just going to hit open and then we'll go. So I want to give you guys one more opportunity to ask your question. Yeah. No? All right. So it looks like we are ready for the networking event. I am going to stop the Facebook Live. Thank you, everybody on Facebook who's watching. Hopefully next time you can join us for the speed networking event and meet new people. But for now, I am going to close out the Facebook.